How y'all doing? Can y'all hear me? Can y'all hear me out there?
Yes, we can
Sound
hear you.
sound check
Yeah.
good. Sound check good. Moving right along. Thank everyone for tuning in. Thank everyone for participating in our 5th annual Save the Youth event. We're doing it this year via live stream due to what's going on in the country, but we will not hesitate to continue to do what we need to do as it relates to eradicating violence in our community. And our next panel, we have a great group of individuals who will be discussing things for us, and I'm going to let them introduce themselves. We'll do let's do age before beauty. So wow, I don't know how you guys are going to sort this out, man. I think we'll do age before beauty. So we're going to do we'll start with Bruce Alston, go to Chris Gaskins, and then go to Gillian.
So you saying I'm the oldest one here?
No, I'm not saying you're the oldest. I'm saying you're not the
I am
youngest one.
I am though, I guarantee it. How's everybody doing today?
You're all well.
Good, good, good. Bruce Alston here. I'm ready to go. You hear me, Chris?
I hear you.
Okay. I don't know if Chris hears it.
Yeah, Chris can hear you. Yeah, Bruce, just give us an introduction, who you are, just a little bit about you, and what do you do?
Okay. As many of you know, my name is Bruce Alston, lifelong resident of Jersey City. I'm an entrepreneur. I run several different investment funds dealing with real estate. I presently own probably about a few companies that are heavily invested in 1 to 4 family homes throughout New Jersey and other parts of the country. I consider myself an expert on residential investment, buying residential properties for investments. I'm not a real estate agent, right? I'm a person who purely deals with the side of the business where if you're looking to become an investor, I train people to become investors, and I do that through joint venture partnerships with myself or strategically offering people advice or advisory services. That's where I'm at.
Okay, thank you very much. I appreciate you, and thank you for joining us. Next up to introduce himself and what he do is one Chris Gaskins.
Thank you for the extra S on the back of my name. I'm Chris Gadsden. I'm currently the principal of Abraham Lincoln High School here in Jersey City. I've been an educator for about 20 years here in Jersey City. A very active and very concerned about the condition inside of our community. A former city councilman, part of many civic organizations here in the city, and our job is, my job, I always say our because I'm always a part of a collective, just a part of a group of individuals who just want to do well, and just want to do well for families and students and just people who we come in contact with. I consider myself a servant leader and someone who has to give back to his community because the community gave so much back to me. So we got to pay it forward and honor what our ancestors brought us on this planet to do. So that's all. Brief introduction.
All right. Thanks for joining us, Mr. Gaskins. And last but not least, the beautiful and talented Gillian.
Thank you. Hello, everyone. I'm so thrilled and honored to be a part of this event. I look forward to talking with all of you offline when we're able to get back together again. But my name is Gillian Sargeant Allen. I'm here bringing greetings from Rising Tide Capital. We're a nonprofit organization here in the state of New Jersey with our headquarters on Martin Luther King Drive in Jersey City. And our mission is to transform lives and communities through entrepreneurship. Not only am I a graduate of the organization's Community Business Academy in 2009, but I'm currently serving as the executive director for its New Jersey operations. Just a little bit about me. I am a believer in the power of collective economics. My family's from the Caribbean, Trinidad and Tobago to be exact, and I've seen the power of, I'm sure as you all have as well, seen the power of collective work benefit the whole. So I saw pooling of money, pooling of energy that would then go into supporting communities to get their own home, to pay for their the kids' college education, to start and grow their own businesses. So I think that, you know, what is great about our communities is that we understand that there's talent that in our communities that are underutilized, and that we need to bring them together so that we can make the greatest impact for the community itself.
Wow. Thank you for joining us, and thank you for continuing to do all of your advocacy as it relates to, you know, moving the community forward. I do have two other co-hosts with me here, my brother Steve Campos and my sister Pam Johnson. I will let them chime in to, you know, ask you guys some questions. Again, thank you for joining us.
Thank you, everyone. So this segment was important because when we talk about violence, we know that it doesn't happen all by itself in a pocket. You know, we just heard from our mentors that are out in that community supporting our kids every day, and they intimately understand the situations that these kids are going through. So we heard the importance of being there for our kids. This next segment from the introductions you just heard, it has to do with some of the more macro issues that really feed the cycles of violence. So we know and understand that we need to break cycles by understanding how communities work in a complete story, in a complete picture. So I'll start off with you, Gillian. I mean, I want to throw it out to you as far as how does Rising Tide empower that whole economic arm of community?
So, you know, Rising Tide Capital invests in individuals who raise their hands and say, I want to build a business. I want to build wealth for my family. We believe that when entrepreneurs find the success, when they are successful in business, they then can create jobs in our communities. They then hire from the neighbors in their communities. They increase the tax bases in our communities, and then they create a ripple effect that becomes, you know, stimulates the economic revitalization of our community. So just to note, the entrepreneurs that we work with are 93% persons of color, 71% women, 83% of low and moderate income. And the change that happens to our entrepreneurs, on average, those are in business, their average increase of the business sales happens over the 2-year period, increases by 95%. And then their household income increases by 63%. So that's taking somebody who's making $32,000 a year and bringing them up to like $62,000 or $63,000 a year. So that's significant. And that's why we know that the work that we do is important, because if it's without that opportunity for economic mobility, what we know for sure is the absence of opportunity for jobs, economic opportunity equals the presence of violence in our community. So that's our contribution, and we're thrilled to be a part of a community that wants to work together and in their lane to get the overall goal accomplished.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
That's great. That's great. And we're so happy to have 3 more powerhouses with us for this segment. For Chris and Bruce, what are the macro community issues from your experience as it relates to education and the economy? And what should be done about it?
You can jump to Bruce.
Sorry, Pam, repeat the question. I'm sorry.
No problem. What are the macro community issues from your experience as it relates to education and the economy, and what should be done about them?
I just think that as far as you touched on it with the 2 key words is basically education and finance. I think that one of the things that we have to do is we have to, especially in community of colors, is teach people about investing, whether it be stock market, whether or not be bonds, whether or not it be real estate, right? I don't think that we're getting the children or these young adults, right, places to educate themselves, or to, how can I say, is a lot of them have an MBA in business. A lot of them have an MBA in finance. We just have to show them how to change the product. There's some of these people out here they're running corporations. They're running corporations that's generating revenue of $100,000 a month. I think that like you take a program like Gillian's, right? And it's one program, but it's also one that are young people basically getting in touch with it, or do they know about this? Because a lot of them, right, they don't realize that they might understand all the principles about being an entrepreneur, how to run a business, right? But you have to know how to now formulate that into a business plan, and how to change the product, and how you can make the same money flipping weed, the same money you can do flipping t-shirts. You know? So
Yeah.
one of the things I think is more important is the component of education. Teaching these young people, because what I hear now, and I don't mean to go off on a tangent, is though everybody wants to be a boss. Everybody wants to be an entrepreneur. You very rarely hear them say that they want to go work for someone. Or you never really hear them say, or you have young entrepreneurs now that once they start talking about branding and stuff like this. And I say, that's all fine and good, but you have a superior product. Do you know how to market that product? Because before some of these people became household names, it's a product that was able to create a brand for them, right? So I think when you have someone like Gillian, right, and you have Chris that's an educator, right, maybe there's a way, and I was trying to do it at one time, Stephen knows it, and I got sick last summer, right, is that I did a youth real estate investment academy, or something like a 6-week program, right? Maybe that's something that can get incorporated into the schools, maybe on Saturdays or Sundays even, where these children commit to go for 4 weeks and have some kind of program where they can see these are the steps. Here's the boilerplate. Here's the boilerplate and things you need to do to become an entrepreneur.
Okay, that's great.
Thank you so much. Chris, what's your input on it?
Yeah. You know, when you start talking about it from the education aspect of it, on a macro level, I think we have to change the way we educate our youth, right? Because we're coming from a 19th century, whatever model, agricultural model, whereas we're trying to teach people how to be good citizens and trying to, you know, give them facts and see if they can master assessments to see how proficient they are in standards, right? But then now we have to engage them in the job market, give them skills, give them everything that they need. Because, you know, when you look at the median income inside of our communities on the south side of the city, in certain pockets, is below $35,000. And we know when we do census data that the more education that a person has, the more money that they make, right? So we have to give them we have to give our people a more tangible skill set, right? So, you know, we have to revamp what we do in education, but we can't do it, you know, just inside of like Lincoln and Snyder and Dickinson and Ferris, right? We have to do it inside of the community. And so that's why it's so important for us to bring back, co-ops, bring back, apprenticeships and those types of activities so we can engage our youth. I think over time, we're going to have to, invest heavily. Like we're going to have year-round, job training programs. You have to revamp a CETA type program. I'm going to have to, like within my financial literacy course or my entrepreneurship course, partner with Rising Tide to create more of an incubator for entrepreneurs and people who have ideas. I think that we have to do things differently. Like, in high school, we have trades, we have cosmetology and culinary. Other schools in the district are starting to move towards more of a CTE model, a career technical education, because what's going to happen is our students need tangible skill sets to make sure that they can put food on their tables, make sure that they can, live the life that they want to live, because violence happens because there's lack, and violence occurs because there's not enough. And anytime you study economics, you start talking about scarcity. Like the more impoverished the neighborhood is, the higher the crime rate. So we can address poverty and we can address violence by ensuring that someone can make money and someone can have a livelihood. Because if you give the young people an opportunity, a job, if you let a 16-year-old work at Foot Locker or work in Newport Mall, they're less likely to be out there on the streets and to cause problems because they don't want to lose that income. And just, just growing up in the city, like once I first got my Burger King job, like you couldn't tell me nothing because I was able to buy my own sneakers and to support myself when my family couldn't. So I think that overall, on the macro level, educational facilities have to change how we engage our young people, and that's, a battle like within itself. Like we're at this turning point right now because that type of education is going to require more resources, more money, more collaboration, and more groundwork.
Okay.
Absolutely.
Can I just add one thing?
Sure.
Is that I think one of the things that has to change too is in the African American community and the communities of color, right? We have to stop keeping that consumer mindset. We get our check, we're willing to spend our last dollar every single time. And that's a problem. We'll spend, and that's a problem. We never talk about, we'll go, like these young kids' mindset is, yeah, I want the Gucci belt, but did you think about investing in Gucci? Or did you think, well, I want the iPhone. Did you think about maybe investing in Microsoft or, So that's the other thing I think we have to do is we're dealing with the thing is that we have to change the mindset.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
We have to let them know you build wealth and you build opportunity, not by being consumers. Because if you ask me, right, there is and no disrespect to anyone, there's a lot of money in the minority communities. There's a lot of money here. There's a lot of money with his households that's making over $100,000 a year combined. But what are they spending the money on? Go out into the driveway. There's 2 cars, 2 car notes. You got high mortgage payments. You got an equity loan. You're trying to do this. You're trying to do that. And that's one of the things is, are our finances in order? And that's why I get mad when a lot of people say, "Oh, we are a poor community." No, not when you got a Lexus in the driveway and you got a $3,000 pocketbook you're wearing, and your son's got a $500 a $500 belt on, and a $400 phone. Let's get real, people. Let's get real. Let's stop saying that we are impoverished or we're living in poverty. Or is it a thing where we're not spending our money or being taught how to be fiscally responsible?
Yeah.
Okay.
No, I would say, based off of, just the amount of children who receive free and reduced lunch, and just families in general, like we are, like on the south side of the city, Black and brown children are growing up in impoverished homes. There's a, I don't like to say that it's a myth of Black.
But all due respect, principle.
All I'm saying is that I hear what you're saying, Bruce. But all I'm saying is that there's large pockets of families who have gone through generational poverty, and that has to be. And the only thing that can address that first is giving them skill set. But our people overcompensate and buy items of status to show that, they are incorporated into this American, economy or whatever. But it's really fake. It's not, like the wealth is not there. You know what I'm saying? That they overcompensate. And I understand what you're talking about, but yeah.
We could go all day with this, fellas. But I guess the key thing is, right, is that we just have to be very cognizant of that. Essentially, there's really no difference between being a drug dealer and an entrepreneur, with the exception of the education level. That's essentially what it is. So it's just the appropriation of application, so if you don't understand that people are living in poverty and it's generational, then they must educate themselves and understand why they where they at. So once they have an understanding, then they can begin to attack and not make idiotic decisions by buying $200 and $300 sneakers to try to fill a status quo to try to impress other people who subsequently in poverty too. So it's a matter of educating oneself, you know, and the more education you acquire, the least likely you are to make idiotic decisions. You understand assets and liabilities. So with the education awareness, then we should be able to, you know, combat violence and poverty in my assessment. But
I know we need to go on break, but can Gillian she's been trying to come in.
Thank you, fam.
Yes, ma'am.
I appreciate you.
I see you, Gillian.
Thank you so much, Queen. Listen, the bottom line here is, guys, that as a community of people who have our own different tracks that we are responsible for, we have to reset our priorities, right? So this is a collective work. This is about, somebody told us once long ago that it was important for me to have a Gucci belt, right? So, and that's a gotcha, right? They play the tricks on you, and they take the banks out of your neighborhood, and they disinvest and disinvest and disinvest. We have to decide that we will invest in ourselves and our community and not run away, right? Not run outside of our Greenville borders or whatever borders it is that we set up for ourselves, and that we're willing to stand firm, work together, lock arms, and get the work done. And once that happens, we'll be just fine. Thank you. We'll be just
well, I'm looking forward to the work that I know you, that I know Gillian, Bruce, and Chris will do going forward, because you all are concerned about the economics in our neighborhood and making sure that people of color, you know, have investment here. So thank you guys, and we appreciate you. Looking forward to everything that's gonna come.
Thank you so much.
Okay.
Thanks, Pam. Thanks, Bruce. Thanks, Joe.
Thank you.
Hey, thank you guys. I gotta echo that. I mean, this is the collective genius that we have in our community, and just like, you know, the panel said, through the education of streamlining this kind of conversation and learning, this is what's gonna move us forward. So I would just want to like also thank you guys for that. Just as I expected, we have a whole lineup of great speakers. So I know we're gonna fall behind. Like I hope everyone expected that and didn't expect us to keep right on track. But we're gonna go to just a quick intermission, a minute with DJ Chauncey. We're gonna regroup our next panel, and we're gonna jump into our next talk that's really gonna cover mental health and trauma. We're gonna get into that discussion with some new panelists that are gonna come on. But I'm gonna pass it on to DJ Chauncey for a quick minute break so we can catch up on our timeline, and then we can jump into our next set of speakers. Cool?